less than 30 days away from the season starting. So we are going to go ahead. We are going to dive into your dynasty teams. We are going to hopefully come up with some plans, and hopefully I'm going to be able to help you out. But let's go ahead. Let's swing this over. First team that we get to look at is from a longtime member of the flock, somebody who has an absolute juggernaut here, and will be in a very interesting spot determining if they're going to contend. But this is Mason Ware. Shout out, Mason. I appreciate you, my guy. Says, also, we have an extra 2026 first as well. You can tell real quick with the league analyzer on the site that this team has a ridiculous amount of pick value. I feel like I'm in a good spot for the years to come. My question is, do we try to semi-compete this year? Cheap options / good targets. If I do, should I be concerned about Lamar's age? The Daniels owner will not trade with me. What are your general thoughts? Thanks, Mason. Thank you. So I would say general rule of thumb, if you were looking at just a full-blown rebuilds, like realistically, Lamar Jackson, somebody I would be throwing on the trade block, not necessarily because I think, oh, Lamar Jackson's too old. He's going to see his value drop like a rock over the next 12 months. No, that's not going to happen, right? But realistically speaking, where is the room for Lamar Jackson's value to go up? Lamar could average 24 points per game this next season, and Lamar Jackson will still be a top 3 dynasty startup pick and will still be valued identical to where he is now. So if you were a rebuilding team, if you could pivot off of Lamar and maybe move over and get like Caleb Williams and multiple future first, then sure, you could go ahead and look at that. But to be honest with you, you just have too much value here to look to just fully commit to the rebuild. So where we're at beyond this is we have Joe Burrow at quarterback with Lamar Jackson. So according to the league analyzer, we have the most valuable quarterback room in this league. I do think that this is almost a little bit of a trap. I know I've done this back in the day where we have just rostered every single backup quarterback going like, oh, I'm going to be able to sell one of these guys if we were to get an injury to a player in front of them. Realistically, I think you're probably better off just trying to go to the waiver wire and pick up some running backs, wide receivers. Let's see if there's anybody available on your waivers. Like Vidal, I'd probably rather have over one of the quarterbacks at the very bottom. Diami Brown at wide receiver, I would rather have than maybe like Andy Dalton. And then tight end, nobody looks interesting whatsoever. But regardless, obviously, we have the best quarterback room in this league, and we should be able to compete with this QB room. Now, going over to what we have at running back, we're sitting with Ashton Jeanty, Jordan Mason. This is a running back room that we can throw out week 1. Like, is Jordan Mason the best running back to ever? No. Very weak, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's not going to be the end of the world if you have to start Jordan Mason if we're elite at quarterback, elite at wide receiver. And we look at the wide receiver room, we have the number 1 wide receiver in this league with London, Tet, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave. So we have the number 1 quarterback room in this league, the number 1 wide receiver room. We have an elite running back with Jeanty. So I 100% think you should be planning on contending this year. Like, I understand, yes, we also have by far and away the most pick value of anybody in this league. And I understand the thought process, like, oh, we can just make sure that we have a full-blown juggernaut in 2026. But you're probably making the playoffs with this team regardless. Like, Lamar, Burrow, Jeanty, London, Tet, A.J. Brown, Wilson, Olave is going to be enough to drag you to the playoffs. So your 2026 first, it's not like has any shot to be the 101, any shot to be the 102. So I would like to play around with this, and I would like to put you in a position to try to contend this year. I mean, realistically, all you have to do is pick up a tight end, some running back depth, and maybe a QB3. And the QB3 you may not even need. So if we go through and if we can try to find a team in your league that is also looking long-term, like this is a squad here that has 2 2026 first. They also have an extra 2026 second. Maybe this is a team that's looking to go through and try to push to have a ton of value in 2026 and beyond. Their only starting running back right now is Quinshon Judkins. And Quinshon Judkins isn't even on an NFL roster. So realistically, this is going to be a rebuilding team as well. They have no shot to contend the way that you do. So I would be looking to go through, I'd be looking to try to trade with this roster. Now, it should be very easy. I think just picking up a couple additional pieces that could help you right now, like picking up Kyle Pitts from this squad where they have Brock Bowers, should be almost free. Now, one thing that you could do, you have to ask yourself, do I want to push hard to contend, or do I want to make minor tweaks that we have a shot to do something early in the year? If you want to push hard to contend, F it. Go through and offer 3 2026 first and go get Brock Bowers. because then you're sitting with the best tight end room in the league, the best wide receiver room in the league, the best quarterback room in the league. Trade a couple second round picks, go get running backs like DeAndre Swift, Tony Pollard. And you're a juggernaut immediately. Like that, you can do that right now. Nobody's going to stop you. Now, if you wanted to just say like, oh, I want to do the bare minimum, I want to just be able to get by with the contender, but hold on to all my future pick value. Like Kyle Pitts could be a strong target. That way you just have a tight end to start week 1. Or if you wanted to send like a future second round pick for Kyle Pitts, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Trying to find other teams that are rebuilding, going to be tough because you have all the picks, right? Like we can look at some of these teams that are at the very bottom in the league analyzer and go like, oh, probably this team at 12 where the Cordell Patterson and Antonio Gibson are their top 2 running backs, they should probably look to rebuild. So in that world, if you wanted to try to send them like a 2026 first, a 2027 first, and get back Matthew Golden and Loveland, sure, let's run it. But with how strong you are, and maybe this is just me with the full-blown redraft mindset where we're sitting here the heart of August, and for sure, like people in August are looking at their teams and wanting to have a strong roster week 1. People are wanting to contend in August, whereas when you were in February, when you were in March, that just wasn't a thing. Everybody was looking to try to play for the long term. I think, though, you're so strong with this team. You look at the league analyzer, you are just absolutely boat racing everybody here, that for you to go through and for you to potentially trade away that trio of 2026 first round picks that you have, bring in Brock Bowers from the rebuilding team, make a ton of sense. Go and try to attack some of these teams that have the running back depth, but at the same time, maybe aren't going to be strong enough to really contend. Like there's no way in hell this team wins this league, right? If you didn't make a single trade, you're still probably beating this roster here. The next in line team. Why don't we go through and why don't we try to send them a 2026 first, second, third, or a 2026 first and 2 2026 seconds and get back Sam Laporta, Brian Robinson, Tony Pollard. So you need to be making moves to try to contend. You already have an absolute dominant roster. I think, especially if you have the additional 2028 first, you have 4 2027 first, all the second round picks in the world, all the third round picks in the world. Whether that's you trading a couple second and thirds right now for veteran running back stopgaps, or whether it's you making a blockbuster where we're sending multiple first round picks to go get an elite level player at any position, either one I'd be very happy with, and either one we're going to run it there. But I know you sent in another team for us, my guys. So let's go ahead and let's check out this other squad. We're saying, I think this team could compete, but since a lot of the starters will be rookies, it may take some time to get their footing. Who should I target for cheap, early production? Also, the league's dead right now, but I plan on moving one of my quarterbacks for a skill positional starter. Any ideas who to go with there? So this is going to be the second team that we're looking at from you, my guy, where you just have run away the best team in the league, not even remotely close. Like, look at this. You have almost double the value on your roster as the second best team in your league. So if you were to do nothing, we were to just go with this team into the season, with Daniels, Bo Nix, Drake May at quarterback, Genty, Caleb, Tootin, Dylan Sampson, Braylon Allen, DJ Giddens at running back, Chase, Neighbors, Tet, Hunter, Rice at receiver, Jonnu Smith at tight end, Darren Waller at tight end, you are a playoff team and you could win this league with this team without making a single move. Now, as you already mentioned, would be very interesting when we're sitting with Daniels, Bo Nix, Drake May, Jackson Dart to trade one of these quarterbacks for a skill positional guy and go maybe send like Drake May and get back Jahmyr Gibbs, get back Bijan Robinson, even if that means we have to include one of these rookie picks in 2026. So 100%, we want to be making that move. If your league mates are very hesitant to make that trade with you, which I would be if I were them, you're absolutely dominating them at this point. Maybe you instead could opt to like wait until Jackson Dart's actually starting halfway through the year. And then at that point, make a pivot and go get a running back or tight ends. So plan A, I would love to sell Drake May. I would love to get an elite level running back in here if possible. Plan B/A, or whatever you want to call it. I think you're doing it at the same time. I think just bringing in another tight end at a very cheap cost from a rebuilding roster would make a lot of sense. Let me see if we can find whatever teams the rebuilder here. So this team has 3 2026 first and a 2027 first as well. Plus they have Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid. Now, a couple different options. One, we can go through, we can offer them our 2026 first, which I'm pretty confident is going to be mid to late. And we can see if we can get Sam Laporta on the way back. I would really like that move. 2, what you could try to do is maybe we could try to send like Jackson Dart and a 2nd rounder for Sam Laporta, where they have Brock Bowers. And obviously they could use that long-term quarterback where Caleb Fields, Anthony Richardson are their current options. And this is a long-term team. So I think they'd be very interested in a quarterback like Jackson Dart. So 2 different options there. Another thing that we could try to explore is just selling a 2nd round pick for Dalton Kincaid, just giving us a viable tight end if you wanted to make a more minor adjustment at the position, and seeing if we can find any other teams that would potentially be interested in rebuilding. This team has an additional 2026 first. Their RB2 is Ray Davis at this point. They're loaded up with either rookie or year 2 wide receivers, and they have Cam Ward. So I'm imagining that possibly this is a team as well that's looking to play this from a little more long-term perspective. And with that in mind, if you want to reach out to them and say, hey, if you're trying to guarantee yourselves the one, you're probably not going to get it having RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's probably too good. And try to send them like Jackson Dart for RJ Harvey straight up. Where if you can try to sell them like, hey, Jackson Dart probably has more value in the offseason than RJ Harvey does. And at the same time, it's a way for you to lock in the 101. Like that would be interesting if you could sell them on that. In terms of picking up an additional tight end, here's my initial offer. They'd probably tell you to kick the curb, but I would offer them like Jackson Dart for RJ Harvey and Elijah Arroyo, or maybe Jackson Dart for RJ Harvey and Kate Otten. As worst case scenario, they tell you no. Best case scenario, they say yes. And middle case scenario, they say sure, but I'm just going to do it for Jackson Dart, RJ Harvey straight up, which is kind of what we'd be looking at anyway. So plan A, we're selling Drake May for the elite running back. Or you could sell Jackson Dart to a rebuilding roster for a slight running back depth piece. We're for sure wanting to go through and target one of those tight ends, as we already mentioned. The thing I do not want to do, we do not want to break up your wide receiver core. We have the best wide receiver room in this league. And I don't necessarily think that we have to split that up because it's a start 12 format. Like with this being a start 12 format, it's going to be extremely deep and we can start reasonably every single one of those wide receivers weekly. So love the wide receiver room, love building around depth here. Definitely like the idea of trading away Drake May for an elite running back, Jackson Dart for a depth tier, either one, just depending on what your league mates are interested in. And then obviously picking up a tight end, as we already mentioned. But again, back-to-back crazy good teams, back-to-back teams that I know you're centered around long-term value with. And the team's definitely going to be even better when you get to 2026, even better when you get to 2027. But at the end of the day, I think you're in a situation where your team's too good not to go ahead and push forward. Now, let's move this over to our next question. This one's coming out from ACN Naylor. It says, my main question is if I should mail it in this year and wait for my 2 first next year to build off with Dart and Cam Ward from this year's draft, or should I go and try to move Chuba or Sutton to get some combination as well? I missed my championship window by coming in 2nd and 3rd, and we have currently aged out. So just starting here at the very top, you are currently sitting 10th in the league analyzer, and there are some absolute juggernauts in this league. This team here has Caleb, Drake May, 2 at quarterback. They have Genty, Bijan, Hampton, Bucky at running back, Puka, Brian Thomas, Drake London, AJ Brown at wide receiver, Trey McBride at tight end. Like, it is going to be difficult to take down these top 3 absolute juggernauts. So when we're sitting down here at 10th in the league analyzer and we have like a third of the value of the top teams, I would say 9 times out of 10, yeah, I'm going to lean towards rebuilding. And pulling up this roster right now, 100% I think we need a rebuild. Arguably, like our wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, Amari, Michael Wilson, Dimey Brown. You're not going to be able to be competitive with this wide receiver room, right? We have the worst wide receiver room in this league. We have the 10th best quarterback room, the 9th best running back room. The only position that we're strong in is we have Sam Laporta. So when we're leaning towards pivoting to a rebuild, what we need to be doing is we need to be looking at every asset that we have and asking ourselves, will this piece be worth more 12 months from now than they are today? In the case of Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, the answer to that question is very much they can. Like, Cam Ward could possibly jump up and be viewed as a consensus top 12 quarterback in Dynasty 12 months from now. I'm already very aggressive with my Cam Ward ranking, as you can see. Jackson Dart could potentially be valued as a mid quarterback 2 in Dynasty 12 months from now. That is in the range of outcomes. So I'm not selling Cam Ward. I'm not selling Jackson Dart. But realistically, what would Matthew Stafford have to do to increase his trade value over the next 12 months? Even if Matthew Stafford threw for 35 passing touchdowns this season, frankly, it wouldn't really matter. He'd be another year older, and it's not like he's going to be moving up Dynasty rankings at that point. So I would sell Stafford right now if you could get a second and a third for him relatively easily. I think that's going to be much, much easier said than done. Going over and looking at what we have with the running back position, we have RJ Harvey, Chuba Hubbard, Jarquez Hunter, Jerome Ford, Trevor Etienne. So I think Jerome Ford is a player that I'm right now on a rebuilding team like yours, sending every team in your league, like this team here that has Tajay Spears as their RB2. I am sending every team in the league an offer where, hey, you give me back a 2026 second, I will give you Jerome Ford a starting running back week 1. 99% of them will tell you to kick rocks. Maybe one team accepts. And if not, hopefully we get a couple offers back where we could flip Jerome Ford for maybe some later rookies in this year's class. Like flip Jerome Ford for like Jarquez Hunter and a third, right? I think that'd be interesting. Chuba Hubbard, I think that more likely than not, his value goes down over the next 12 months. Obviously, if you're a contending team, I would say hold on to Chuba Hubbard because you're going to get the production this year to make up for that loss in value. But for you, we don't really care about the production this year. So I would be looking to move off of Hubbard for either a rookie wide receiver, year 2 wide receiver, or a future pick, an asset that we think can increase in value. Like if we could sell Chuba Hubbard and go get Matthew Golden, I think that'd be very interesting. And this is a team where they're sitting with like Pacheco, Charbonnet, Rashad White at RB. Now maybe they are pivoting to a rebuild, which in that case will probably be a little tougher for us, of course. Now this squad over here has Tyrone Tracy as their RB2, Jalen Warren as their RB3. Going over and looking at the rookie picks, they do have their 2026 second. They have their 2026 third as well. One thing that we could try to do is we have this 2026 second that's not from our own team. So if you wanted to try to package together like Chuba Hubbard and the 2026 second from somebody else's team to go get a 2026 first, I think that would be very interesting. And then going over and looking at Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, I would say almost the same thing with them as I would with Chuba Hubbard, right? And that realistically speaking, these players don't really have it in the range of outcomes to move up in dynasty rankings dramatically over the next 12 months, unless they are legitimate wide receiver ones in fantasy, which seem unlikely. So I would be looking to try to move off the veteran receivers like Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton, or if you can pick up a 2026 second and a third for either receiver, I think that'd be very interesting. Sam Laporta, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, RJ Harvey, Jarquez Hunter. These are the names that we are trying to really hold on to. Jerome Ford, Chuba Hubbard, Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton. These are the names that we're looking to flip for future picks and or rookies in this year's class. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my guy. And obviously, I really hope I get to see you out in the live stream sometime soon. And bad news for us. Apparently, Keenan just signed with the Chargers, so rest in peace, our Quentin Johnston bags in best ball. That is going to be an absolute brutal thing to live with. But L-Star coming out with the next team. It's Big Cock Brock says, any tips? I know my wide receivers are below average, but I think my young bench has potential breakout candidates. So this is actually our first redraft team review. So crazy that you've already done your redraft league, my friend. I'm super excited to check this out. But this is Big Cock Brock. We are in at the 2 slot, so we drafted a pretty strong team. Now, this is a very, very common league format for redraft teams. This is a 10-team start 7-1 QB. So we are highly incentivized to build around an elite quarterback, and elite tight ends with only one flex spot in the 10-team league. So when we have Brock Bowers here, I love that. Because the wide receiver position is not nearly as important in a league like this. We have Brock Bowers, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, we have Chase Brown, we have Trevion Henderson, we have Caleb Johnson. You absolutely crushed this draft. Now, the waiver wire, as you can tell in a 10-team league like this, is very strong. You could reasonably stream quarterback. We have Caleb, Purdy, Dak, May, all out there on waivers. Now, we have Baker Mayfield, so obviously we're rolling with Baker. Running back, we have Bigsby, Nick Chubb, Tajee Spears, Trey Benson, Rashad White, Byshell Tootin, all in the waiver wire, so really strong options there. Wide receiver, you have Jaden Higgins. So I would love to say like, oh my gosh, there are so many of these exciting players on the waiver wire. Let's go. Let's pick up Jaden Higgins for free. The issue is when we look at a team like yours, who the hell are we going to cut? If I had to cut a player on this team, what is Jordan Mason? And I'm not trying to cut Jordan Mason given the inherent upside that we have with one, the usage that's possible this year, or two, if something were to occur to Aaron Jones. So what I would look to do here personally is I would look to try to make a 2-for-1 deal where we could possibly get to an elite level quarterback. So this team that has Lamar Jackson, if we can send them Trevion Henderson and Baker Mayfield to get to Lamar, let's do it. If we can send them Xavier Worthy and Baker Mayfield to get to Lamar, let's do it. Even though wide receiver is extremely weak, you only have to start 2 wide receivers here weekly. And quarterback's going to make up that very high percentage of your starting lineup output. I would say the same thing with Josh Allen too. Looking at the Josh Allen team, their running back room is like Pacheco, Joe Mixon, or Ramondre Stevenson. Like this is a very weak team overall. And considering the fact that they're like rostering a backup quarterback, Cam Ward, instead of going through and picking up like Jaden Higgins for free when they already have Josh Allen, this team probably doesn't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. So I think you absolutely crushed this draft. You can see with the league analyzer, we're right here alongside the other top team. It's by far and away the best teams in this league. I think we did a great job building around the elite tight end, grabbing a great running back room in a league where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. I like punting wide receiver the way that you did. And the other thing that you could look at is possibly trying to package together like Courtland Sutton, Marvin Harrison Jr., and try to go get an elite receiver. Is there a world in which we can trade, say, the combination of Marvin Harrison, Courtland Sutton, and go get Brian Thomas? Can we trade Marvin Harrison and Courtland Sutton and go get Puka Nacua? Go get Justin Jefferson? Go get Malik Neighbors? Obviously, you're not getting Chase. Go get Nico Collins. Go get Amon-Ra St. Brown. That'd be the next move that I'd be trying to make. Because again, with the opportunity cost that we get, opening up a roster spot, you can just go pick up another wide receiver off the waiver wire for free. But really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out with this. But I think you already crushed the draft. I don't think you really need to do much more. Now let's go ahead and let's check this out for Clint Knott says, looking for insights on what to do with the team and moves to make to try to tier up. We've been trying to get Jefferson, Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Chase all offseason, but unfortunately can't get it done. So if we're looking at these league settings, it's going to be a 10-team start 9-1 quarterback format. So 100% I'm in agreement with you. I do think that you're in a spot where we should be looking to try to tier up where we can. Because if we fill out a starting lineup here, we're starting Jaden Daniels at quarterback. Running back, we have Bijan, we have Bijan and Derrick Henry in the lineup for this year. Wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, Drake London. Then in the flex spots, we have Brees, Jonathan Taylor, Marvin Harrison, JSN. And actually, JSN's on the bench. We have freaking Tyler Ward in the starting lineup. And then also on the bench outside of JSN, you have Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, and Igbuka. So let's make sure. Did you say you try to trade for, you've been trying to trade for Jefferson, Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Chase all offseason, but couldn't get it done? Well, first off, let me hook you up with a bunch of free trade question vouchers, and let me hook you up with a couple. Okay, I'm going to have to do this after the stream. I apologize for that. I'll make sure you get some free vouchers because you're going to have to make some pretty tough start-sit decisions as well. So what I would not do here is I wouldn't continue to try to go and get like Jamar Chase. You already have by far and away the best wide receiver room in this league where I'm not going to say it's pointless for you to go and do that, but it's not inherently something that needs to get done. Something that I think could help you out a tremendous amount would actually be going out of your way and getting the elite tight ends, getting Brock Bowers or getting Tyler Warren. And you have plenty of firepower to do it. This team here has Brock Bowers. Their running back 2 is Jordan Mason. Let's go right this second and try to offer them Breece Hall and Tyler Warren to go get Brock Bowers. Jonathan Taylor and Loveland to go get Brock Bowers. Any combination of any running back that we have on the team with any tight end outside of Bijan Robinson to see if we can get Bowers on the roster. And I would try to do the same thing with the Trey McBride team. Like this team has Jalen Waddle as their wide receiver 3. We have Marvin Harrison as our wide receiver 3. Hell, we have Ibuka as our wide receiver 7. Like, let's go try to trade them, say the combination of Rome Odunze, or let's try to sell Ibuka and Tyler Warren and go get Trey McBride. So again, as it stands now, you have JSN, Rice, Rome, and Ibuka all on your bench. Not even to mention Josh Downs. So I think that the move that I make here with your team isn't to go through and try to continue to tier up at wide receiver, which obviously you already know that if we could trade those wide receiver pieces and 2-for-1 deals to go get Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, sure, we'll do it. But I think the more interesting move for a team like yours is going to be to actually instead go through and go get Brock Bowers, to go ahead and go get Trey McBride. Those would be what I'm most interested in. But sorry, I'm on the other screen right now trying to make sure I can get you some free trade question vouchers. Okay, perfect. There we go. So you should have a bunch of free vouchers in your account right now, both with trade questions and start sits. So I'd be super happy to follow up with anything else for you here, my friend. Is there anything else that we could discuss? I guess one thing is if you're unable to make those like tier jumps, one thing that you could always explore is going like, oh, okay, well, if Rome Odunze is the 4th wide receiver on my bench and I'm never going to start this dude, can I sell Rome for 2 future first? Can I sell Rome and Josh Downs for 2 future first? That way you have a little more flexibility where maybe one of those future first turns into like the 102. So that's what I would look to do. But again, plan A would be to go get the elite level tight end because you already have the 2nd best quarterback room in this league, the best running back room in this league, the best wide receiver room in this league. Tight end's strong, but it's more so strong with the future value. And obviously we look at the league analyzer and you're boat racing everyone here, but I really do appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out, my guy. But I think we are going to move this over to our next team, which is going to be Norm. Team name is No Disassemble. Says, I think I need to find a way to get another running back. So let's move this. We are currently the 2nd team in the league analyzer. This is going to be a 12-team start 7, 1 quarterback format. So this is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. So wide receiver depth here is going to be very much meaningless. And that's very important to note because if this was a regular dynasty league where you could get 5 starting lineups, 5 wide receivers inside your starting lineup, I would love this room. I'm like, oh, we can get London, Ladd McConkey, Marvin Harrison, Devonta Smith, Josh Downs, Brandon Ayuk. Like we have the 2nd best wide receiver room in this league. We're going to be crushing everyone. That's not the case here. So there are 2 things that we can look to do with this. The first thing we can look to do is try to get a better running back too. Whether that's us trading away Devonta Smith, whether that's us trading away Josh Downs, whether that's us trading away Brandon Ayuk. Regardless, I think that would be an interesting trade because at the end of the day, we bring in a better running back too, and we're a strong contender this year. The other thing we could do is, with this being a start 2 wide receiver, 1 flex, the elite quarterbacks and the elite tight ends are going to move the needle a considerable amount. So I would also look to see if we can sell a wide receiver depth piece, move like Marvin Harrison Jr. and Loveland, and go get Brock Bowers. So the main thing that we need to figure out is who in this league is going to be weak at wide receiver, who in this league would be interested in trading for one, and what do they have to give us in return? So this team at the very bottom is arguably the worst team in the league when it comes to the wide receiver position. They have Jamison, Tyreek, Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan's their wide receiver 3 on their team. Now, in terms of what they have to give us back, they have Bucky Irving, Trevion Henderson. Could be super exciting RB2s for us. So realistically, going back over to our roster, where we're sitting with like, say, Devonta Smith, Josh Downs, Brandon Ayuk. If I can send Devonta Smith and Byshell Tootin and go get back Trevion Henderson or Bucky Irving, it's a no-brainer. Now, realistically, you're not going to get that deal done. Realistically, Ladd McConkey or Marvin Harrison will be the player that you have to trade. Now, I think people are going to be a little hesitant to go out there and just immediately trade for Ladd without any type of discount, given the Keenan Allen news we just got. So I think Marvin Harrison would probably be the player to throw out there. And if you wanted to see if we can send Marvin Harrison and get back like Bucky an additional piece, like the issue is quarterback, they don't really have much for us. Tight end, they don't really have much for us. So it's kind of awkward where like those running backs are like halfway between Marvin Harrison and Devonta Smith with their dynasty value, where we're not really going to be able to get a deal done just selling Devonta Smith and Byshell Tootin straight up for Bucky Irving. But at the same time, I don't really know if I want to sell Harrison straight up for Bucky. So what I would probably opt to do is my initial offer to that team is, hey man, I'll give you Devonta Smith and Byshell Tootin for Bucky Irving or Trevion Henderson. They're probably telling you to kick the curb. Then I'll go, hey, what if I throw in Brandon Ayuk? What if I throw in Jaden Higgins? Throw in another one of these depth pieces in a start 7 league that doesn't really matter. See what they say. Maybe they get back to you. Worst case scenario, you can circle back and you can explore the possibility of selling Harrison. This team here is the 9th best wide receiver in this league. I guess they have like okay wide receiver depth. I mean, you can try to send like Devonta Smith and Byshell Tootin to Jonathan Taylor and just see what they say. This team has Damari Douglas as their wide receiver 3. This team needs another wide receiver. And again, you're set in a really good spot where you can contend. So I would go ahead. They have Josh Jacobs at the moment. Why don't we try to offer them Devonta Smith and Ramondre Stevenson and go get Josh Jacobs? My initial offer actually would probably be Devonta Smith and Byshell Tootin and try to get Jacobs and Judkins and see if they're willing to give Judkins away for literally nothing. Now, there's a good shot that they don't want to do that, so I think you pivot over to maybe Devonta Smith and Ramondre just for Jacobs straight up. But regardless, I think that'd be interesting. This team has no running backs to trade with us. And they have Tyler Warren, but I don't necessarily know if that's where we want to be going. Now, this squad here has Waddle as their wide receiver 1, Judy wide receiver 2, Debo wide receiver 3. And running back, they have great options. They have Hampton, Kyron, and McCaffrey. So what I would do right now is I would go and see if we can sell Marvin Harrison Jr. straight up and go get Amari and Hampton. I'd way rather have Hampton and Dynasty in a vacuum, especially in your league where you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, and we can bring in Hampton, run him alongside Ginty, and then have a core of Ginty, Hampton, London, Ladd, Devonta Smith, Josh Downs, Ayuk, Jaden Higgins. So absolutely love it. Going over and looking at what we have with some of these other rosters. I mean, not many of them need wide receivers the same way that those other ones do. But again, like that's the main strategy that we have with a league like yours. You have so much of this wide receiver depth on your bench. It's not really contributing to anything. I agree. I think we should probably contend. We probably should upgrade our running back too. And because it's a start 7 format, we can't really just opt to say like, oh, let's keep the best players. Let's keep the wide receivers because they're going to be the guys that hold value over time and we don't need to be trading for team need. But no, if it's a start 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, team need's actually going to be a little bit important. Okay. So I know that and then also Norm, I really appreciate you. I really hope I was able to help you out here, but let's move this over. I think that's going to be the last team we look at. Obviously you can always go and link your team on flockfantasy.com for completely free, just in case you don't know how to do that, which I'm sure everybody here does. Go to the My Teams page. You can go ahead, hit the league, hit add new there. You can just put in your sleeper ID and you can get the league analyzer. And then also if you wanted to unlock like all the premium stuff on the site, 2025 season pass will get you access to everything on flockfantasy.com until January 1st. All the tools. Also, if you use code FLOCK, you will get start set questions and trade questions answered from me during the season. But you're a Dynasty member, so I wouldn't even recommend the $34 pass if you play Dynasty. I think you're just going to get a lot more value from the annual Mother Flocker. The $34 season pass doesn't come with the Dynasty review. And at the same time, you don't get access in the off season. So I think the annual Mother Flocker for y'all would probably be a lot better for Dynasty purposes. But As you can kind of tell, I'm about to cry. It's been a very emotional 20 minutes, 30 minutes for us. The big Q is done. RIP. RIP our best ball season. And I'm going to have to collect myself. And I'm going to have to get ready to go on the live stream on the main channel in probably about 20, 30 minutes. So let me collect myself. I'll go live on the main channel and talk about Keenan Allen and what it means for the Chargers guys. And I'll look at my rankings and see if we need to be making those adjustments. But appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. And hope I get to see you out in the live stream with the main channel tonight.